Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Uncensored. I'm your host, Marianne from Yachts Mermaids and Uncensored, a yachting international radio show. And for today, I am super excited because we have Anna Petschel, a ex-yachty, well, actually, a ex-bosun. And yeah, she's a girl on deck. And right now, she is acting as a strategy exit coach. So, Anna, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So excited. So as you guys know, the words, is all about intuitive, how we're serving you guys. So the two words that came up for Anna and me were support and click. So Anna, when you hear the word support and click, what comes up for you?
I guess for me, what comes up is supporting different people through transition, and the click, I guess, is connecting the right people together and making the right connections for the right people.
Okay. So if we think about, connecting the right people together and supporting people, how, back into your yachting career, how did that look for you? How was that lived, right, in your experience, that support and that connection of the right people together, right?
Yeah, for me, I obviously yachting is all about connections, from how you get jobs to how you progress in the industry. It's really about who you know and having the right connections in the right places and at the right time in your life as well.
Mm.
For me, when I went to leave, I felt that maybe there was a sense of that click or that support wasn't there initially. And so I really had to search for it in order to find someone. And that was the first time that I really it wasn't there. And then when I found the right person and had that right click, then the support kind of naturally came from that.
Right.
And, I think everyone needs that support.
So basically, when we're going into it, or what I'm getting from it is that when we're getting into the industry, we are trying to find also that connection, that click, so we can like get, into a smooth sailing kind of journey while we're in the industry. And then all of a sudden, when you're trying to move away from the industry or just start to be of service in a different way, which is not longer on a vessel, then you are finding yourself again back on, what do you call it, back at the beginning, and
Yeah.
trying to find that support and that connection to the other side, right? Which is the unknown now, which is like that life that you left once and that you became so foreign to it for so long in a way, and now you're trying to do that movement, and you're finding yourself kind of like lost in a sense, and trying to
Yeah.
find your way again, once again, the same way you kind of did it at the beginning in yachting, but this time trying to get back to land.
Yeah.
Which is funny how it's like a full-on circle.
Yeah, you really need to find, without that support, it is really hard to find that new click or find that new connection to someone. And it's, when you get into yachting, there's a lot of support because everyone's doing it. You're in the industry, so you've got all these different connections and stuff. And then when you come to the end, it's kind of like, now where do I go?
Actually believe there is So you actually believe there is a lot of support when you join the industry? Like what type of support was available to you that you feel that, you were so supported throughout your career?
I'm not sure that for me that during the career there was as much support as I now or I now currently give to others. But I know just even having friends in the industry and having people around you all the time is a really, even though on the outside it might not look like a direct connection, having that community around you, I guess, is the yachting community itself, even though it's now hopefully there's more and more mentors around, and like myself, I mentor other people to have that connection while you're in the industry and also to provide that connection when you're joining. But yeah, when I found when you were going out, it was like, wow, I need to find a new support network, and I need to find a new click with something else, because otherwise you kind of are on your own a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel there's a disconnect, and that's where it can be really hard to find that new direction, because you are sort of going out of the realm of what the industry has held you in for so long, and whether or not you've had support through that time, when you go to take that next transition, it's not a natural transition. So people, I think, lose that click or connection and don't know where to go.
Right. So, I mean, what's coming up for me when you're talking is that I feel that there is support, or not even support really, more of like guidance of how to get in the industry and like, you know, all that stuff, you know, getting people really amped and ready and like, okay, here's the door, you know, like blah, 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 this is what you have to do. But then you get in and then there's kind of like this decline of while you're in the journey of support, you know, mental health, spiritually, physically, you know, that is easily and accessible. Definitely for me, you know, being 14 years in the industry, it wasn't until recently that I started to see all these beautiful, amazing people giving support like you. But prior to that, I had to look for that support outside of yachting. And thankfully, you know, I was not strong or, you know, courageous enough, you know, to actually say, I need help and look for it. But I wonder if you actually do get support throughout your career, will that exit become easier? You know, because it's almost like you're prepping yourself for the final step, which is the exit to it. Because I mean, let's face it, unless you are a captain, and even if you're a captain, or, you know, or you have like some, I don't know, like, I mean, you know, talking as a stewardess, how long can you do this for? You know, like I think I'm pretty out there, you know, like 14 years. So at some point you have to have a exit strategy plan, right? Which is kind of like what you're supporting people with. And I think like a lot of people don't even think about that when they're in the industry, and when they start, they just like super pump. And then at some point they become scared because they're like, oh my God, that, you know, I don't want to do this for a long more, you know, for more time, but I don't know what to do. So then you keep coming back, or you keep in the same place because it's a uncomfortable safety zone, you know, financially and in so many other ways, you know, not just financially, you know, because you're used to that, you know, the way you're leaving, because you basically isolate yourself from the world in a sense to become part of the yachting world, you know. And I just wonder if that support starts not when you decide I'm going to leave, but actually prior to it, to really prep yourself into, okay, well, now I know, now I'm prepped, and now I can then go into, you know, the next step. And obviously, if you haven't had that support, absolutely get it when you know, like, okay, I'm thinking about it. Maybe this is the time to start looking for that person to guide me that has actually done it, right?
Yeah.
So you have done it. So, and I know you kind of did it on your own for the most part, I believe. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, everything you said right then was absolutely true. You go online and you see so many people trying to help you get into the industry, and there's so much guidance and support at that end. And when you're in the industry, that's becoming more and more supported. And there is like the crew coach and all sorts of other ones that support you while you're in the industry, and that's amazing. But when you get to the end and you go, okay, well, what am I going to do now? I found, like with Corrine, she was my one support, but I spent my time in the industry going, okay, I'm ready to leave, but where do I go? Who do I talk to? What avenue do I seek? And I found myself struggling because I hadn't had support prior to that from someone outside. And so I started seeking, you know, I talked to careers counselors, I talked to career advisors, I talked to psychologists. I started thinking, maybe there's something wrong with me because I just don't know. I was looking at every job website and thinking that I don't want to do that, but I don't want to do this. So I need to do something else. But I really, really found it was quite a hard time, because there wasn't really anyone until I found the crew coach. There wasn't anyone that I found that could support me in that time. And there's also this big overwhelming weight of people saying, what's your exit strategy? What are you going to do after? And although it's not, people don't always talk about it, it is there. And I think everyone, well, a lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people will have that at some point in their career. Like, what am I going to do after? Or how am I going to?
That's like really the biggest fear of a lot of crew that have been like in the industry for a long time. They get to the point where, like, literally, I did a little bit of a survey the other day asking that, about that. And they were like, my future, I'm fearful of my future. I'm fearful of what am I going to do next? Like, I don't know. Like, I have goals and dreams that I don't even know how to like achieve them,
And that's where I think, that's where I want to come in. And I want to be that person that people say, hey, you can talk to Anna. She's going to support you through this. You don't need to be on your own. There is like, I want people to come out of the industry excited to do something else. I want like people to be seeing, like, creating together, we create an ideal lifestyle after yachting. It doesn't have to be, this was my life and now it's over. And it doesn't have to be, oh my God, the fear of leaving. It's like, now you have a chance to start, like, pivot in your life, do a new thing, or take what you've learned. Like, you've got so many yacht crew come out with so many amazing skills and so many like strengths that just don't exist in other parts of the, in the world. And we have such
and I'm going to stop you there, because I love the fact that you brought it up, because I have heard before where people say, well, yachting didn't give me anything. Yachting doesn't give you anything except, unmindful, stuff like how to clean. And I call fucking BS on that, because yachting has given me, and I know a lot of people, I'm pretty sure everybody, how to have boundaries, how to handle different situations, how to handle safety, how to handle emergency, how to handle different cultures, among all sorts of stuff, to say the least, your own inner work, because it's a massive mirror there constantly for you to improve and develop and grow as a human being, so like to even think that you haven't gotten anything out of yachting, I don't know what type of yachting you've been doing, honestly. I love that, those strength that we don't even take, that we actually take for granted, those could be the potential seed for your next project and your next life and your next way of serving,
because so many people, like, you just don't realize so many of those skills are amazing, like such good quality traits that you sort of put aside. And when I think, especially when people are in that time of change or pivot or exit, all you can see is the sort of negatives, or you've got quite a overwhelming like fear that's talking. So you can't see that you're an amazing leader, that you're working well in teams, that you're really organized, that you've got so many great skill sets that would be really, really good in another industry. But because you have the fear and that inner voice and the inner critic that's really talking and overwhelming all the other good stuff, of course you're not going to be able to see it. And that's why working with someone else, you're able to actually like pull apart that and like discover yourself again. And I think for me, especially when I went to leave, I was like, oh, who am I? I don't even know. I don't know my values. I don't know my strengths. I don't know what skills. And then it all compiles and you just don't know who you are. And I think for sure some people do. And I think that's amazing. And if you've done some inner work, then that's awesome, like up until now. But I would say the majority of, or a lot of people haven't done that work. And I know I hadn't. And until I started going, okay, what are my values? What are my skills? Like if I look at those, actually moving out isn't so scary. It can actually be quite exciting. And it can be exciting to use these skills in a new way.
Yeah.
And so it wants to be an exciting process. It's a new chapter of your life. You don't have to be scared, but there is so much pressure that the industry is like, you're not going to be able to survive. You're not, golden handcuffs will keep you here and those sort of things. It's like,
Yeah.
actually, if you decide that your biggest asset or your biggest values are, like for me, helping people and having creativity and all these amazing things, now that I get to use those on an everyday, like every day, then those golden handcuffs are not something that keeps me in. And all these other things that you
Yeah.
feared before that were so overwhelming are not the things that are holding you back. They're the things that are propelling you forward. And so, yeah, identifying those with people. And like once you
So
start like looking at
I
those.
really want to pick your brain and like if you could, because I'm pretty sure like people that are watching this, that are being called to watch this, they probably are in that scenario where they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? Like, I know I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't even know what I want to do next, or I don't even know what I could potentially be good at anymore, right? So if you're in that position where you're starting to think of exiting, and what would be like the top, I don't know, 5 things that you would tell somebody you should start, implementing these 5 things in order to getting more clear? Because I think clarity is a big thing, right? When you're not clear, you have no sense of direction. So what can you, as as an exit strategy coach, can share with them today?
Awesome. Well, firstly, follow me because I've got daily tips. So,
So where can they follow you?
coaching, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, all under A Petrel Coaching or under Yachting Exit Strategy Group on Facebook.
Awesome. And by the way, guys, all this is going to be anyway under the video, so you can just click and follow.
Amazing.
Okay. Go ahead.
Or follow my website. There's lots of good content that you can start working through. But my top tips, I would say, one exercise to do is get clear on your values. What is it that you actually value in your life? Because once you get clear on those, then you can start incorporating those into your daily life. And when you start getting clear on those, and I've got a few exercises on my website that you can do, but once you get clear on your values, you can start to see each day, am I living up to my values? And whatever those values are, if you're able to tick off those, say, 5 top values each day and say, yeah, I'm aligned with those, then actually your daily, like your happiness and stuff like that will be a lot stronger. So that's one tip. Get
So
clear on your values.
like doing your values and understanding where you're aligning, right, your energy with and what you really believe in is going to basically start shifting your energy. So you can start shifting the mindset to like, I'm not doomed and like worry, but really more like in the brighter side of things of like, okay, I'm going to get curious and I want to explore this new opportunity that's obviously showing up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because once you're in your like most powerful self or your strongest sense of who you are, that's the best place to come from. Like it took me, I'm not saying any of these are easy. It's hard work, but when you work those out, it is so much easier to move forward.
I mean, there's a challenge, there's growth. So number 1, values. Get your values right. Number 2.
Get clear. Number 2, I would say would be get a bit of paper, split it in half, and one side write all the things that you enjoy about your current job. What is it that you enjoy about that job? And in terms of, is it the teamwork? Is it what you're doing? Is it things like you really love organizing? You really love setting things up for people? You love table decorations, or you love varnishing, or you love people orientation, or you love whatever it is that you love about your job. Put all those sort of things down. And then on the other side, put all the things that you don't like, all the things that not necessarily just the politics and those things, but do you really not enjoy
you actually enjoy doing?
Yeah. So put those 2 down together and you'll start to get a bit of an idea of where your strongest strengths are, because those naturally come to all of us.
Yeah.
when you start looking at those, which kind of rolls into the third point,
Mhm.
is identifying your strengths. Because when you identify your strengths and what you're actually good at, then it's a lot clearer to move forward again.
Yeah.
Because once you've got those clear, if your strengths are people and communication and things around that sort of realm, then you can start to go, okay, well, a good job would be for me to be in something that's to do with people rather than something that's to do with I don't know, organization. Or that's not a good example, but say for me, one of my strong strengths is motivating people and helping people grow and stuff. And so working with people for me is really important. And so to have a job that is aligned with that and allows me to work with people daily is something that is already innate to me and it's
So,
already
okay,
within
so
me.
like we said, one, check in with your values and get that clear. Then
Exactly.
number two, do half a paper on one column where you're gonna do what you enjoy doing, and on the
Mm-hmm.
other one what you don't, what you find
Yeah.
challenging to enjoy during your
Yeah.
daily duties and in your yachting career. And that will kind of also show you because where you're enjoying something, that means there's a strength
Oh,
to it, right? Because you're
yeah.
putting all your energy and loving it because you enjoy it, right? Because there's something in there that is ticking that strength that you may be unaware of. And then
Absolutely.
on the number three, you're going to get clear into your strength, right?
Yeah. So getting clear with your strengths, and
So
that can be
how would somebody do that?
okay. Well, there's a variety of ways, and what I thought was really interesting, what I worked when I was going through it myself, and then when I go through with my clients, um, asking people who are around you, hey, do you mind if I take, like, there'll be a few people, ask the people who you really care and respect and say, hey, if you don't mind, could you answer a few questions for me? Most of the time they'll say yes. If they don't, ask someone else. But asking them, hey, what do you think I really excel in? Or what strong points do you think I really have? There'll be things that will be within you that you may not necessarily know. And then there'll be things within you that, hey, you already knew those. And identifying those and getting really clear on, like, say, 5 top points of what strengths you really own. Like, you can do that and you're good at that. That's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, and I love that exercise because it allows you to, get out of your own head and allow an objective person to, you know, give them their perspective of what they see, and maybe you're surprised at even what they believe you are actually excelling at, that you may be so beating yourself up because we're like our worst critics, right? When in fact that could be something that you are really good at but you're not willing yet to see until that moment. Love it. Okay, so we got getting our values clear, seeing what we enjoy, what we don't enjoy, then that moves you into actually owning our own strengths. And then what's the fourth point?
The fourth point I would say would be really looking at your interests and passions. What are you, and I know passions is a word that can have so many connotations. So if that's a word that means something to you, take it for what it is. If it's a word that doesn't mean something to you, push it aside and use the word interest. What are the things that you've always been interested in? What are the things that when you're not working, what do you like doing? Do you like going running? Do you like social events? Do you like whatever it is? Is it painting? Is it researching? Is it talking to people? Is it exploring? All those sort of things. Start writing down a list of all the things that you are really interested in. Through that list, you'll be able to start seeing where are the ruminating ideas. You might get, for me, exploring was a big one. It kept coming up with everything. Everything I was interested had the adventure and exploration in it. So for me, a job that really includes something like that I can do every day is really important. And other things, like another one that came up for me that might come up for other people, is like helping people. Like on my weekends off, I like going and helping people or helping the environment, doing rubbish pickups, doing like environmental things. And like, so for me, another big one is that. And when you move forward, it doesn't necessarily mean that you even have to do that as an entire career, but it might be something that you can do that brings you happiness in doing it. So that's a good one just to keep your motivation up, because then also you start to notice.
Point number 4 would be to figure out what your interests are and what you're really, almost like the things that make you get up in the morning.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like a lot of times we get up for work because we have to get up for work, but the weekend comes and it doesn't matter how tired we are, we're getting up, but you're getting up because there is something driving you to get up. And that may be that sense of exploration, that may be that sense of being at service and helping others, or whatever it is for you, okay. And then that takes us to the 5th strategy or tip.
Ooh, the 5th and best point I can say right now. This is a slightly different one, but I think it's a fun one, and one I like doing with my clients, is looking at what you enjoyed when it's sort of along the same interest line. But what did you enjoy doing as a child? What were your hobbies and interests as a kid? What did you do when you were playing? What were the things that gave you energy then that you can do now? Or not even that you can do now, but it might have been making movies, or making something, or drawing, or painting, or fixing things, or running outside, running around, playing with your friends and stuff. Start listing all those things. It will firstly bring back a lot of excitement, because remembering anything that you've done is a really good way to increase happiness and release a bit of dopamine into your system. That's a happy hormone. So doing those sort of things, because usually there's an underlying, like when we start to look at it, there's an underlying thing. And whether that is something around creating. So you want to be in, if you are making movies, making artwork, making things is something that might be really important to you, and it's been within you the whole time. And it might have been something that's lacking. And so if you compare that to the second one, where we did the 2 lists, you might see that actually making things was on all of your things that you're enjoying about your job, and actually what you don't get to do is create. Right. And so that could be something that you start to see ruminating ideas, or messages that pass through all these different activities. And that's a really good way to start getting a bit more focus about where you're going. It might not initially have a job title under it, but hey, that's cool, and that's okay. And you don't need to have a job title yet. You don't need to know where you're going and what direction you're going.
Yeah. So I think like what I'm getting is that these 5 tips are the base, the foundation to really start getting clear and start moving towards the direction of an exit strategy plan.
Yeah.
Like there's many steps to it. There's not just these 5 tips, obviously, but this is a really good foundation and very easy things that we can do right now if we desire to start getting clear and start getting a sense of direction towards where we actually want to move towards to when we decide to unplug from in a sense from the yachting industry, at least in the vessel aspects of it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really good. I love that. I wanted to give them concrete things that people can actually start working with and start getting clear. So one thing that is there anything else you feel like you want to add to what we've been talking about? The support and click and the to get out of.
So one thing that I think is really another useful thing is just think about, like, are there any other, like, have you ever really been interested in a certain company, or this is where click is coming up in mind. Is there a company that you've ever thought, oh my God, it would be amazing to work for them? What is it? Is there a type of job that you've ever thought, oh, that would be amazing if I could do that? Look at that. Start researching into it. What sort of company is it? What sort of things do they do? Why are you interested in it? Like those sort of things is really good place to start. Send me a message and absolutely I can help you out. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything more, but I can help you see behind that and guide you in the right direction of what to do with that and how to use that to your advantage. And, start to look around. If you're on LinkedIn, see if say you want to work for Tesla, start researching, start looking into Tesla, start getting into it. If it's Greenpeace, get into what does Greenpeace do? What do they mean? What do they value? Get interested and just be interested, because this is an exciting time. Don't be scared, don't be nervous.
And I bet that like whatever company we may be, pulled towards, it's probably going to really correlate. Is that even a word? I don't even know. I'm just like making up English words here. Like match what all these 5 exercises are about, because if you're being pulled towards that, it's probably because there's a connection there with, within your values, the enjoyment that you have, the strength that you have. There must be something, I think, that connection there,
Yeah.
So
You absolutely
that's a really good idea. I love that. So yeah, thank you so much. This was really helpful. I'm gonna even do them.
One thing to add. The other thing is, don't be scared by this. Don't be scared by leaving. It's so exciting, but also the more you're aware, just be aware of like how much time you've been in this industry, and this industry can be really like impacting on our lives, and how much you will have gained from the industry. But also having self-care to know that it's okay to rest, and like it's okay to finish the career, and you don't have to go into, the biggest advice I could give was, you don't have to finish and go straight into another job, and you don't have to be already in that. Take time. Most of us give ourselves, in between seasons, we take a month off or whatever. Right. Make sure you give yourself time, because your body really probably needs it after all this time in the industry. And that's probably the biggest and most important thing I could tell anyone right now.
So now that you brought that up, I wonder, like in your coaching, do you also work with like financial strategies for people that want to, move away? Like, because obviously finances have to do a lot with, whether you come back or not, because most of the people that end up coming back, including myself, has been because of finances. We can fool ourselves and say something else, but at the end of the day, it's like we can do the job with our eyes shut. We're good at it. We get good money. Why not do it? Because we don't see ourselves in an 8 to 5. That's like a no-no. So it's like, I rather go crazy hours for like a month, make a lot of money, and then leave and, be like off for like a few months, So I wonder if that's also included in what you offer.
At the moment, it hasn't been something that I've touched on, because I've been looking more at like self-awareness and stuff. Okay. But the more I've been looking at it in the last, say, 3 or 4 months, I've been thinking that is something that needs to be included and incorporated, because the majority of people, when they think about leaving, the first thing that comes to mind is money, and ultimately we can't disregard that. But I think one of the other things is, when you start actually looking at all these other things, money doesn't become such an issue. And I think we all have this big idea that money is what's holding us there, but actually uncertainty, I think, is what's holding us there even more than money.
Absolutely. But for a lot of people, is the uncertainty of not having immediately a paycheck every month. That is a given, uncertainty of where is the finances are going to actually come while I figure it out. And I think this is good, because if you are able to do the figure out part while you're still in the industry, making money, be financial stable, so you're secure, whether, I don't think that is a safety thing, but for some people is. I guess for me it's not, I guess, in a sense. But I think if you can do that while you're still there, then the leap is going to be so much more easier, because you're not going to
Absolutely.
have to do that transition while you're running out of your savings, you know, because you're
Yeah.
going to have to end up back, because that's what I have done, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really work.
Yeah. No,
I
if,
mean, at least
yeah,
maybe it works for some people. It just hasn't really worked for me. But my story is a little bit of a different story. But definitely not the normal story. But I think it's very important to get somebody like you to work with while you're still in the industry, so you can really have that smooth transition. So once you take the leap of like, okay, like this is going to be my last season, that could potentially really be the last season, and you don't
mm,
find yourself 6 months down the road, holy shit, I have to come back.
yeah. And I think that's why one of the things that made me actually want to do this so much was because I saw so many people doing just what you said, leaving, not knowing what to do. And especially, say, for example, this is not all, but I did see a lot of stewardesses leaving and wanting to leave, getting out, and then just doing something that replicated their job on the outside. And then they didn't like it because it's not the same. It doesn't have the travel, it doesn't have as much money, it doesn't have
Yeah.
all these like bonuses that the yachting industry provides, and then they come back. And no one wants that. You want to be doing something because you've chosen to do it. So yeah, starting this like early is good because the first part of what I do is just self-awareness. So that can be done at any time. If you're just joining the industry, you can start doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and being aware, because then when you go to leave, you want to be happy to leave. You want to be like going into something that you know you want to do,
Yeah.
not going into something out of fear. Or we can work together if you are leaving and you don't know what to do, absolutely. But
Yeah.
if you can plan it earlier, then it's a lot easier, and it's a lot easier on like the client or whoever, because as anybody, having some sort of future in mind or having some sort of plan and having someone to work through it with you is a lot easier than doing it on your own. And that's
Totally.
where the big click and support, I think,
And what comes up for me before we close this show is that, you know, investing in yourself, because really this is an investment. This is going to pay off in so many ways, and we make good money, like we're not this lifestyle, this career, you're not making shit money, you're actually making good money. And for the most part, you don't pay rent, you don't pay a lot of things that a normal person usually pays. So really, yeah, play, do whatever you want, indulge in whatever you want, but also indulge and invest in yourself, because at the
mm,
end this is going to be your future, and so I want people to get really clear that this, working with a coach, working with whatever, like it doesn't have to be a coach, it could be a psychiatrist, it could be a career, person, whatever, um, is an investment.
it is.
Something that you say, I am important, I'm going to prioritize myself, and I'm going to have guidance to actually make the best out of my yachting career, because I
Yeah,
wish I actually have done that at the beginning of my career, because it would have been a
yeah,
complete different outcome. I'm not saying
yeah.
I don't love the outcome that I'm in, because I do love it, but if people don't have to go through what I've been through, fuck, honestly, get the help. You're going to
I'm with you
fucking,
on that.
seriously. So thank you, Anna, for showing up, for helping us out to get a little bit more clear with amazing, super easy tips that we can actually start implementing today, to get clear, to get more focus on that, exit plan, because at the end, all of us are heading that way. That's
Mm.
it. You could be in day one, or you could be in day 130,000 billions. You're still going to get to the exit day. So it's really good that it's really important that we plan for it and that we don't wing it, because you can wing it, but it's going to be really challenging. I'll tell you.
Mm.
So before I go, I do want to say, because we did talk a little bit about, like the fact that you're out there, crew coach out there, and that the Yachts Mermaids actually has a support directory that Anna is part of, that Karine, the crew coach, is part of, and that we do have other people in there that are different coaches for different aspects of our lives, because it's not just career, it's also, you know, career progress, spirituality, physical, emotional, because everything's linked together. So yeah, I just kind of want to, you know, want to make sure that you guys know to go visit yachtsmermaids.com, and in that directory you're going to find actual current available people that are there to support you. So you're not going to go and click and then they're not going to be there. They're actually there doing the work to help and support us in the industry. So thank you, Anna, again for showing up.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very, yeah, it was such a pleasure. I love it. I loved it. So if you want to get in contact with Anna, just follow the links below and you will be able to reach her. And that's that. That's a wrap. I'll show you guys next time. I'm Marianne, your host from Yachts Mermaids, and from, oh my God, this is like the worst. Goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye, apparently. Anyway, I am Marianne from Yachts Mermaids, and this is On Cercer, a Yachting International radio show.